And I.
It's terrible. Okay, I got my mojo now.
Okay, so pick a purple and
Okay.
pick a yellow.
All right, and a yellow.
And then tell me what you have revealed that will be the subject.
So both of them.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Eating a delicious meal.
Okay, love that action. What's the other one?
Your personal hero, but wearing a funny hat.
A lot of things going on in this
Yeah,
drawing.
there's a lot.
With
So-
all the challenges that you faced in your life, are you ready for this one?
So do you combine those? So
Yeah.
So you're the hero with a funny hat eating dinner?
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome to the age of the internet, Carl Lewis.
Okay.
How was your time been here at South by Southwest, where you're like the belle of the ball?
It's incredible. I've been to festivals before, but obviously not when I'm working, a part of the project. And just sitting in the audience, watching the film, and then there were some things that I hadn't even seen yet because of some of the archival stuff. And to see that and then hear the reactions, and when I thought something was funny, did they laugh?
Right, yeah.
That's the most interesting part.
And does it feel like a little, because the documentary is kind of all about how you spent all this time battling the public.
Right.
And now all of a sudden the public's caught up to you.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about it. And not only just the stress of it, but also me managing the emotional side of it, because it wasn't as tough when I was doing it because I was just this guy and I had a focus, but I really felt more of it after I retired. When I retired, that's when it kind of started to catch up with me.
What happens when an athlete retires? Like, what do you do?
Everyone's unique,
What did you do?
So what I do, I moved to LA and started working and doing things and took acting classes and
Oh,
in
so
reality,
it's more of the same for you. More of the same, like you're an artist,
Yeah.
you're going to do all this stuff.
But what ended up happening is I went to work, but ended up with a 9-year vacation. So, I was in the Pacific Palisades, up in the mountains, a starving actor in the Palisades. So, so it was what I needed to do. In reality, I worked so hard all that time, and in reality, I was living my 20s and my 40s because I lived my 40s and my 20s.
Right.
That's really kind of
the
what
math
happened.
on that one. That's a lot, but fun.
It was fun, a lot of fun, and then I had to leave because I was having too much fun. Yeah, it was like, okay, you got bills and stuff still.
Right.
But it was an amazing time, and I just felt that I had to catch up in some cases with me because I put so much into it.
Yeah.
And just pushed everything else aside for so long, and didn't even realize how fast time went by. And
That's
that was the
interesting.
craziest thing.
Well, you're so focused. Being a professional athlete is so unfathomable to someone like me, because it's like being that in touch with your physical self and your fitness, and then having crowds all over the world invested in what you're doing. It seems like, wow, that's a lot.
Well, the thing is that you know, in the events that I did, especially like the jumps and everything, your numbers are so small. So if you are 1% less than your best, you're not competitive. So that's just that. So now you have to be 99% or better, or you're not competitive. Then you go to the next phase. You have to you have to look at this thing where everything has to be perfect. So my weight has to be right. So therefore,
My nightmare.
I had this whole concept that I can't eat, and I didn't do this, and I can't do that, and so it's just like it consumes you, but it has to, because you can't do what I did unless you did that. And so, and here again, I don't know that it'll ever happen again, because I don't know that people are invested in the energy it takes to do that, especially in society the way we live now.
So even just talking about eating, I'm like, oh, so the fact that we're drawing someone eating breakfast
I want to start over. Do I have another one?
Can we get an Olympian another canvas, please?
Can I erase it or something?
Does another one exist?
Because the spirit, I started going and then the spirit hit me.
And then the spirit hit you.
Here.
You know what I'll tell you we do have is we have,
The plot thickens.
Do you know what?
Okay.
We only give another canvas to Olympians.
You know, okay, so this is like, it's terrible. Okay, I got my mojo now.
He's got
He's
it.
gonna eat.
Look out! Look out! He got the mojo. This is a weird question. I'm going to preface this. I'm watching this documentary and I was thinking about like all the times I saw you live at the Olympics and now I'm seeing it in the documentary. But I was like, what happens? It seems like athletes are on the field a significant amount of time. What happens if you need to use the restroom?
Okay, you can leave.
You can?
You can leave, but that's like something you plan for. So like me, I wanted to be as light as possible. So I would eat something in the morning and drink, and then I would stop.
Got it. So
and
like,
so I wouldn't, because you can leave and go to the bathroom.
That's very humane.
But if you go, see, someone has to go with you. Oh. Yeah, but I've never in the competition had that issue.
Sure.
So luckily for me.
Good, excellent. How was people's reaction to when you're sitting in the theater watching the documentary about you?
I felt like they followed it in a way that made a lot of sense, because there's some things that are funny, and do they always get that? Do they understand it?
Right. Do they get you?
Yeah, that's the thing, because you don't, and do I get me? Because here again, I'm seeing this through a different lens also.
Yeah.
And there was so much in there that I hadn't seen, like a lot of the archival footage, and I've said this before, but my father was, like fathers are, he took all the pictures and cameras, and I saw a video of him I'd never seen before. Matter of fact, he's been gone 30, almost 40 years now. And I saw more of him in the film than I have combined in the last 40 years.
Wow.
Of him just talking and remembering how funny he is.
You get it from somewhere, right?
I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Okay.
Let that spirit flow. That's how this works.
Yeah.
How much input did you have in the creation of the documentary? Did you sort of shoot it and then just come back and see it?
No. The fear of doing it at all was strong enough where I was very active, because good. I just didn't want to do it. So I was very active, and it was helpful I think for them, and definitely for me as well. So we were totally in lock, stock, and figuring everything out. They did some fun surprises, like a lot of the archival stuff. Of course, I didn't go through the whole list.
Yeah.
But that was something that I didn't look at when they were editing, that I loved. So that was perfect. But I think that
Japan and stuff. Do you feel that there's a symbolism in the particular sport that you excel at? Like, as I was thinking about like a long jump, right? Do you feel that that's the case, or do you feel like it's just a coincidence?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I never thought of it that way, but I think the long jump is without question the most difficult event. But it's the absolute one of two things that everyone on earth has done in their lifetime. Everyone has jumped over something.
Yeah.
And everyone has raced someone. And so if you think about it, the two events that I did were the two most simplistic events that you have. And yet you're trying to when you are the best, that means you're actually the best in the entire world at something, as opposed to any other sport or any other event that 99.9% of the world doesn't even do.
Huh. That's interesting. I never thought about that either. It's like, oh, I'm kind of an Olympian.
Right. Well, you all are.
Not really, but sort of.
But I'm just a little better. Everyone is. Everyone's an Olympian.
I really loved in the documentary getting to hear about all of the other things that you love doing, that you're talented at. And it's like singing, you're on shows, you're this raconteur. Like, what do you think best exemplifies your spirit out of all the things that you do?
No fear.
Well, for sure.
No fear. I was never afraid of failure.
And you're not you don't seem to have any concern. I mean, that's what the whole documentary is. You don't have any concern about people feeling a certain way about you. And I was like, is that for real?
Well, what it was is that I always felt I had a place to fall back on. I really did. I really felt that I could fall back on someone, my parents and family and friends. So I even the toughest times, we were able to go somewhere. So I never felt like I was being left or like I was on my own, and that helped me quite a bit.
I bet it did, because having safety like that means that it doesn't matter what anybody says about
Yeah,
you.
but also I have to be honest. I mean, I was so young. A lot of it's naive, just being naive as well. I was pretty naive to think that, first of all, I could even do 4 gold medals. I mean, it was crazy when I talked about it. Like, oh, there's no way anyone can do that. Okay, this is all right.
You're getting it. You're getting it. I feel it catching.
Let me see.
Do you have a green over there?
Yeah, I do.
Can you
need
hand
a
me a green?
Like what kind of
Like
green?
kind of one of the short little crepa greens.
Which
Yeah,
one?
perfect. Yeah, that's great. Oh, thank you. I made something yellow and then I have to change my mind and make it green now. I love how into this we are.
Yeah. I am really, really trying to make it work.
Is art one of the things that you haven't really sat down to do?
Well, it's not even really sat down to do. It's just that, one of the great things, I didn't run distance because I'm terrible.
Oh.
So I think that explains my art.
What was it like seeing your, I don't want to say colleagues, but I mean your fellow athletes, especially the ones you competed directly against? What did it feel like watching this documentary and seeing them talk you up and say, like, I'm a huge Carl Lewis fan. I loved him. He's my hero. And now I have to turn him into a monster that I'm going to beat.
Right.
So I was like, that's powerful.
Time, I mean, the things that they said about me then, I said about them. And then as time goes, I had this whole magical thing of 50. Once you turn 50, we reset. It doesn't matter anymore. And so, like Mike Powell, I mean, God, he just could not stand me. And that night when he broke the record, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This idiot got one jump, and that's what I was thinking that night. And then, afterwards, over time, I was like, well, that one jump happened of 10 years of preparation.
Sure.
And it wasn't just one jump. It was the culmination of all that work he did all those years. And because he lost to me for 9 years in a row and then won. So that to me is what put it, because that's where my respect came from. He was the only one that said, no, I can beat him, and kept going. Everyone else, like, I forget it, I can't do it.
Game recognizes game.
Yeah, and so he just kept going.
That's one of my favorite parts. I don't know that I've seen that a lot, where an athlete will go so far as to talk about, like, hey, he's my hero, man. That was really moving.
I think we're getting somewhere.
Getting somewhere? Getting
This is gonna be
closer?
really interesting. I've got to come up with the hat, though. That's to kind of make it work.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I forgot my funny hat. I forgot my own game. So I didn't understand the context around your work when you were winning all these medals. And so watching this movie, I was like, what is the difference between Carl Lewis and Muhammad Ali, for instance, where Muhammad Ali is this sort of universally beloved, funny guy, and then all of a sudden people are booing you at the Olympics? I was like, God damn, that's a whole stadium of people.
Yeah.
That
90-some thousand.
I felt that, but also they didn't know. They didn't understand. Like, there's not science behind the training that you were doing. You're doing the best that you can with the smartest people in the room, and you make this choice. And I was like, oh my God, that's a strength of character that I didn't previously associate with athletes. But what do you think what's the difference between you and somebody like Muhammad Ali? He got away with everybody loved him. He's so funny.
Because he was professional and I was amateur.
Well,
That's really
young? Would you say young is also what you were? Because
yeah, I was very young. And
young.
And when Muhammad Ali did it, who, of course is a hero of mine, he was so smart and witty, and right off the bat, fortunately for him, I think was great for all of us, was that Howard Cosell latched onto him, the media latched onto him, and it was fun. And he was fun and energetic and that. And so the thing that the film takes us back to, we forget that, this is all 84. This is 15 years after the Civil Rights Movement.
Right.
This is, we hadn't even had 20 years Voting Rights Act, Civil Rights Act. This stuff is 20 years old. It's so still fresh. And so now all of a sudden someone comes and it's totally different. We're talking about not just making money, but we know that when athletes start making money, what do they get? They get power and they get a seat at the table.
Yeah, and agency.
Yeah.
As well. And they start to get a little control over themselves. And I was, every aspect of this documentary is about how ahead of your time you were, because if in the 80s publicity had existed in the way that it does today, I assume it would have been possible for you to have some kind of person that knows how to turn the conversation.
Yes, yes.
And turn you into who the public could tolerate.
Right.
But because it didn't exist, you're just on your own.
And you're on your own to their whim. I'm going to tell you something that you're going to laugh. I was at a press conference, and actually they show it in there. I walk into the press conference. I have on this guest jacket, jean jacket, and outfit.
Yeah, looking fly as always.
Yeah. So I walk in and I do the press conference, and during that press conference, someone asked me, because now they were starting to think, Carl dresses, what are you wearing? And I said, guess. And they were like, well, I asked you.
You had your own like who's on first moment.
This is who I'm dealing with. So these people, it was that simplistic, because
Sure.
I was supposed to have on a t-shirt. I was supposed to be humble. I was supposed to be thankful that I got a uniform, not to mention saying I should be paid for my work.
Right. And I also did not realize, like, the shots of Olympians like sleeping and camping, they don't even have rooms.
That's when I started. My first tour, European tour. We had 4 people to a room, 4 guys to a room, and 2 beds.
Jeez.
That's what we had. And
That's wild.
Yeah.
And of course the person that is vocal about that is the one who's going to be punished.
Exactly. And I said, I'm not staying in a room with so I said we should have our own room. So that was the first thing. 2 years later, we were in different hotels. Everyone had their own room.
And so now, as you were doing your final thing on your glorious paint and sip portrait, what is the thing you are doing now? You've got this documentary that's come out, so now you're on the big screen. It seems like you've done so many things. What interests you now?
Well, I'm believe it or not, I'm coaching, which is the weirdest thing in the world.
That's right.
I never
That's at
wanted
the
to
end.
do it, but here we are. So that's rewarding, because coaching at the college level, you actually have access to a lot of money to give to kids to either be the first in their family to go to college and start generational wealth.
Yes.
And have a family, or continuing that on. So I always say that the great thing about track is everybody can win if you're a college student. Either you go on to the next level or you get your degree. And so that's kind of a fun thing. And, the kids are a lot of work. I was a lot of work, so it's nothing new. But it's rewarding in that way. And I'm really looking forward to them seeing this documentary, because it seems like every kid I work with now does not believe the world existed before 2000.
Right. Yes.
So it's like, I'm 63, right? And I didn't wake up at 38 in 2000.
Exactly.
I actually did the years before it.
You lived a whole life.
Yeah, and I did a lot of the things we talk about, and then they can get when they find out that it wasn't just all the crazy stuff I did, I'm talking about. And when they see my name in pictures or see the records, there was something to it. And when they go down and say, we get paid, and I'm trying to tell them about explaining them how to navigate their career, they're like, oh, you don't know anything, old head. Now they say, wait a minute here, the guy did do it for us. And so I think that's going to be the interesting thing. And also the struggle that had to go through.
Yeah.
And when they think that, oftentimes you think, oh, you just ran through it, life's easy and everything else, because they watch the sports now, of course, and it's different.
It is different. I mean, and this documentary really illuminates all of the things I had no idea about before. This is one of my favorite movies I saw here, because I called somebody, because I was like, damn, did you know how mean everybody was at Carl Lewis? I was like, I am indignant. I'm an indignant middle-aged white lady. I did not.
I think I can try to do this now.
Then what we're going to do is we're going to lift this up. We're going to show the cameras right now. We're going to reveal it is our personal hero wearing a funny hat and then it's eating a delicious meal, right?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. We'll show the camera. First, showing the camera. Okay, and now you're showing me. Now you're showing me. Tell me about this.
Okay, so
I love your face. You're very uncertain, but this is a safe space.
okay, he's eating a burrito, and he's flying because those are wings through the air. That's sand and ground, and Nazi. That's Hitler watching Jesse Owens.
Wow, amazing! And Jesse Owens loves burritos.
Yeah. That's what I heard. And he's not going to argue right now.
He's not going to argue with you. Okay, so this is mine.
Oh.
Okay, so
That actually looks like a picture.
Oh, thank you. That's why I created this show. It's just so I could show off a little bit. This is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Do you see it?
Oh, Ruth.
Thank God.
Stilettos.
Okay, right. And then I drew a red stiletto because it's my favorite part of the documentary was that amazing photo shoot you did. And I was like, fuck yeah. When I saw that, I was like, yeah. Okay, so she's wearing a funny hat, which looks like a clown hat. Sorry, Ruth. And then what she's fixing, though, is a delicious BLT. So tomato, some bacon, bread, and then also avocado because she's spicy, that girl. And then I drew some cotton candy just because I felt like she could get down with some cotton candy.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? Well, she's like fighting for our rights. R.I.P. Ruth.
RGB.
RGB. R.I.P. RGB.
Okay, so I know you've seen it, but
yeah.
And then, it has to be destroyed.
What? Yeah, we'll get right on that. We're keeping it forever. And that's the show.
Wow. Well, thank you. So,
thank you for being here. You know what? I'm going to give you another gold medal in trying something that makes you wildly uncomfortable.
Absolutely, because I have been worse. You actually have a picture, and I have this.